The plane was already full when Marcus Reed stepped inside. Not rushed. Not late. Just unnoticed. The cabin lights of the New York to Los Angeles flight glowed soft yellow, reflecting off polished seats and expensive luggage. First class was sealed off by a curtain, but even economy felt curated. Marcus paused for half a second. Not because he was lost. Because he felt it. That quiet judgment that travels faster than words. Marcus Reed. Marcus was 36. Dressed simply, dark jacket, clean sneakers, no logos. A leather backpack slung over one shoulder. He didn't look important, which was usually intentional. He moved down the aisle calmly, scanning seat numbers. 12A, 12B, 12C. Window seat. Perfect. He placed his bag under the seat, sat down, and exhaled softly. The woman in 12D. She arrived moments later. Tall. Confident. Effortlessly polished. Her name was Lauren Whitfield. A senior partner at a venture capital firm. Used to boardrooms. Used to being obeyed. She stopped when she saw Marcus. Not startled. Assessing. She glanced at her boarding pass. Then at him. Then at the seat. Her lips pressed together slightly. The first assumption. "You're in 12C?" she asked. "Yes," Marcus replied politely. She hesitated, then smiled tightly. "Oh, I just thought." She stopped herself, then added, "Never mind." She slid into 12D, aisle seat, but her body angled away from him, as if proximity required justification. The cabin settles. Passengers boarded. Overhead bins slammed shut. Flight attendants smiled professionally. The safety video played. Lauren tapped on her phone, scrolling emails, voice memos, calendars. Marcus looked out the window. Rain streaked across the glass. New York blurred into gray lines. The small moment, as the plane began to taxi, Lauren shifted in her seat. Her elbow brushed Marcus's arm. She pulled back immediately. "Sorry," she said, quick, automatic. "No problem," Marcus replied. But she wiped her sleeve discreetly on her coat. Marcus noticed. He didn't react. Why Marcus stayed quiet? Marcus had learned long ago. Silence unsettles people more than confrontation. He adjusted his headphones but didn't turn on music. He liked to hear the room. People revealed themselves when they thought no one important was listening. Lauren makes a call. As the plane paused on the runway, Lauren leaned slightly into the aisle and lowered her voice. But not enough. "Yes, I'm on the flight now," she said. "No, economy. Don't ask." She laughed softly. "I'll survive. I just hope I don't end up next to someone difficult." Her eyes flicked toward Marcus for half a second. He stared straight ahead. The plane lifts. Engines roared. The cabin pressed back. The city dropped away beneath them. And, with it, the illusion that nothing could change at 37,000 feet. Marcus closed his eyes briefly. Not to sleep. To prepare. What no one knew. No one on that plane knew who Marcus Reed really was. Not the flight attendants. Not the passengers. Not Lauren in seat 12D. They didn't know why he was flying economy. They didn't know what waited for him in Los Angeles. And they definitely didn't know that this flight would quietly rewrite several lives. The first 30 minutes of the flight passed quietly. Too quietly. The kind of calm that feels temporary. The seatbelt sign turns off. A soft chime echoed through the cabin. Passengers loosened up. Laptops came out. Drinks were ordered. Lauren Whitfield straightened in her seat, as if the plane itself had given her permission to relax. Marcus Reed remained still. Headphones on. Eyes forward. Observing. The coffee order. A flight attendant stopped beside their row. "Can I get you something to drink?" she asked pleasantly. Lauren didn't look up from her phone. "Coffee," she said. "Black." The attendant turned to Marcus. "And for you, sir?" Marcus removed one ear cup. "Sparkling water, please." Lauren glanced at him. Just a glance. Enough to register surprise. The first comment. When the attendant walked away, Lauren exhaled. "Sparkling water," she said lightly, almost amused. "Didn't expect that." Marcus turned slightly. "Why not?" She waved a hand dismissively. Oh, nothing. Just uncommon. Uncommon. That word sat between them. Marcus nodded once and looked away. Lauren frowned. She had expected a reaction. The cabin listens without looking. 2 rows ahead, a man in a business jacket adjusted his AirPods. Behind them, a couple paused their conversation. No one turned around, but everyone listened. Planes had a way of amplifying quiet tension. Lauren pushes. You flying for work? Lauren asked, a little louder now. Yes, Marcus replied. She waited. He didn't elaborate. She smiled thinly. Consulting, she guessed. Marcus met her eyes calmly.
No.
Tech, she tried again.
No.
Lauren leaned back, irritated. Well, she said, LA attracts all kinds. All kinds. Marcus didn't respond. The attendant returns. The flight attendant placed the coffee on Lauren's tray and handed Marcus his sparkling water. Here you go, she said warmly. Thank you, Marcus replied. Lauren watched the exchange. The attendant smiled at Marcus longer than necessary. Lauren noticed. That bothered her more than she expected. The spill that almost happens. Turbulence shook the cabin lightly. Lauren's coffee sloshed near the rim. She grabbed it quickly. Marcus instinctively shifted his arm to give her space. Their hands came close, not touching. Lauren froze, then pulled back sharply. Careful, she snapped. Marcus raised his hands slightly. I was moving away, he said calmly. Her face flushed. Well, it didn't feel that way. The man in front of them turned his head slightly, then faced forward again. Marcus breaks his silence. Lauren, Marcus said quietly. She blinked. Yes. You don't need to be uncomfortable, he continued evenly. I'm just sitting here. The words weren't aggressive. That made them harder to dismiss. She opened her mouth, then closed it. The real problem surfaces. She leaned closer, lowering her voice. I just don't like surprises, she said. Especially on flights. Marcus nodded. I understand, he said. Some people don't. That landed differently. She pulled back, eyes narrowing. Are you implying something? I'm stating something, Marcus replied calmly. The cabin holds its breath. Someone coughed. A flight attendant paused mid-aisle. Lauren straightened, suddenly aware of the audience she hadn't noticed before. She smiled sharply. Well, she said, let's just enjoy the flight. She turned away, but her foot tapped rapidly against the floor. Marcus's reflection. Marcus took a sip of his water. He had seen this pattern before. Small assumptions. Testing boundaries. Escalation disguised as conversation. The cabin didn't know it yet, but something had already shifted. Tension doesn't need volume. It just needs witnesses. The cabin settles again. Another 30 minutes passed. The seatbelt sign flickered off once more. Passengers relaxed back into their routines, movies, laptops, half-slept thoughts. Lauren Whitfield pretended to watch something on her screen. She wasn't watching anything. She was thinking about control,
About space.
about how she didn't like feeling unsettled by someone who hadn't done anything. The accidental attention. A flight attendant returned to collect empty cups. As she reached their row, Lauren shifted abruptly to hand over her coffee cup. The cup tipped. Not much. Just a few drops. They landed on Marcus's sleeve. The stain was small. Insignificant. Lauren froze. Then laughed too quickly. Oh wow, she said. Guess turbulence got you. Marcus looked down at his sleeve. Then back up. It's fine, he said calmly. The flight attendant reached for napkins. I'm so sorry, sir. It's okay, Marcus repeated. Lauren exhaled. Relieved. Too relieved. The comment that crossed the line. Well, Lauren said lightly, loud enough to carry. That's what happens when people don't know how to sit properly in economy. The flight attendant paused. Marcus didn't move. Lauren, he said quietly, that wasn't necessary. She blinked. Oh, she replied. It's just an observation. 2 rows back, someone muttered. Yikes. Eyes began to turn. A man across the aisle lowered his screen. A woman near the window stopped typing. This wasn't private anymore. Lauren felt it. And instead of pulling back,
She leaned in.
the escalation. I paid for my seat, Lauren said sharply. I expect a certain standard. Marcus nodded slowly. And you got your seat, he said. What standard are you missing? She stared at him. Don't play games, she snapped. I don't like being put in uncomfortable situations. Marcus met her gaze. Neither do I, he said. The cabin went very still. The flight attendant intervenes. Ma'am, the attendant said gently, let's keep things respectful. Lauren scoffed. Respectful, she repeated. I'm the one who got coffee spilled near me. Marcus raised his sleeve slightly. Actually, he said evenly. It landed on me. The attendant looked between them, then nodded. Yes, it did. Lauren's face flushed. Public awareness sets in. Now people were openly watching. No phones raised. No whispers. Just attention. The worst kind for someone who liked control. Lauren forced a smile. Well, this is ridiculous, she said. I don't need this on a flight. Marcus replied softly. Then let's stop.
Simple.
Final. Lauren loses the upper hand. She opened her mouth, then closed it, because she felt it.
The shift.
The room wasn't on her side anymore, and she didn't understand why. Marcus stays still. Marcus returned to his seatback screen.
Calm.
Centered. He didn't win. He didn't push. He simply remained, and that unsettled her more than anything else. The cabin breathes again. The attendant moved on. Conversations resumed, but not fully. People kept glancing back. This wasn't over. They could feel it. Some people don't escalate because they're right. They escalate because they're losing control. Lauren makes a decision. Lauren Whitfield stared at the seatback screen, but she wasn't watching the movie. Her jaw was tight. Her fingers tapped the armrest. She hated this feeling, not fear. Exposure. She leaned into the aisle and pressed the call button. The ding cut through the cabin. Marcus noticed. He didn't move. The formal tone. A senior flight attendant arrived. Older, composed, experienced. Yes, ma'am, she asked. Lauren straightened instantly. I'd like to file a complaint, she said clearly. I'm feeling uncomfortable in my seat. The word uncomfortable traveled. Marcus turned slightly. The attendant looked between them. Can you explain what's happening? Lauren didn't hesitate. He's been encroaching on my space, she said, nodding toward Marcus. And earlier there was a spill. I don't feel respected. The attendant listened without reacting, then turned to Marcus. Sir? Marcus met her eyes calmly. I haven't moved from my seat, he said. The spill landed on me. I declined escalation. No drama. Just facts. The cabin becomes a room. This wasn't a plane anymore. It was a room full of witnesses. The attendant asked, Did anyone see what happened? A man across the aisle raised his hand slightly. It was an accident, he said. And she made a comment afterward. Another passenger nodded. That's true. Lauren's face tightened. She hadn't expected corroboration. The attendant decides. The senior attendant nodded once. Thank you, she said to the passengers. Then, to Lauren. Ma'am, based on what I'm hearing, there's no violation from this passenger. Lauren blinked. Excuse me? I understand you're uncomfortable, the attendant continued. But discomfort alone doesn't imply misconduct. The sentence landed hard. A different offer. If you'd like, the attendant added. We can reseat you once the seatbelt sign is off. Reseat you? Not him. Lauren stared at her. That won't be necessary, she snapped. Marcus stayed silent. The warning, quiet but clear. The attendant lowered her voice. I do need to ask that all passengers keep interactions respectful going forward. Her eyes lingered on Lauren half a second longer. Understood, she asked. Lauren nodded stiffly. Yes. The attendant turned to Marcus. Thank you for your patience, sir. And walked away. The power shift is complete. Lauren sat back, stunned. This wasn't how complaints worked. She had used the right words, the right tone, but the room had already decided. She felt something cold settle in her chest. Loss of narrative. Marcus speaks once. Lauren, Marcus said quietly, not looking at her. I didn't want this to become a thing. She laughed bitterly. Well, congratulations, she replied. It is. Marcus turned to her then. No, he said calmly.
It was.
She didn't understand the difference.
Yet.
The cabin moves on. The seatbelt sign lit up again briefly. People leaned back. The moment passed. But it didn't disappear. Passengers had seen something rare. A complaint fail. Because facts stood still. Some people think consequences live in the air. They don't. They wait on the ground. The descent changes everything. As the captain announced their descent into Los Angeles, the cabin shifted. Seatbacks upright. Tables locked. Phones powered on. Lauren Whitfield's leg bounced uncontrollably. She told herself it was nothing. Just an awkward interaction. Just a long flight. Marcus Reed sat still. Hands folded. Eyes forward. Ready. The final look. As the wheels hit the runway, polite applause scattered through the plane. Lauren glanced sideways at Marcus. He wasn't looking at her. That bothered her more than anger ever could. The door opens. At the gate, passengers stood quickly, crowding the aisle. Lauren rose immediately, grabbing her bag with sharp movements. She stepped into the aisle before Marcus could stand. Excuse me, she said tightly, forcing past him. Marcus stepped back without comment. People noticed. The pause at the front. At the aircraft door, something unexpected happened. Two airline supervisors stood just outside, speaking quietly with the senior flight attendant. Their eyes moved to row 12. Then to Lauren. Then to Marcus. Lauren's stomach dropped. Names are checked. Ms. Whitfield. One supervisor asked politely. Yes, Lauren replied, forcing a smile. Is there a problem? We just need to clarify something reported during the flight, the supervisor said calmly. Lauren stiffened. I already explained everything, she said. It was a misunderstanding. The supervisor nodded. We'd like you to step aside briefly. Briefly. That word never meant briefly. Marcus is addressed differently. The second supervisor turned to Marcus. Mr. Reed, he said respectfully. Thank you for your patience. You're free to continue. Lauren's head snapped toward them. How do you know his name? She demanded. The supervisor didn't answer her. That answer mattered more than any explanation. The watching crowd. Passengers flowed past slowly now. Not rushing. Watching. Lauren felt heat crawl up her neck. This was supposed to be private. The question that corners her. Ms. Whitfield, the supervisor said gently. Did you make any comments after the spill occurred? Lauren opened her mouth. Closed it. Then said, I don't recall. The senior flight attendant stepped forward. I do, she said calmly. Silence fell. Marcus walks away. Marcus didn't wait to hear more. He nodded once to the supervisors and walked down the jet bridge. His phone vibrated as he reached the terminal. A message from an unknown number. We're aware. Thank you for handling that professionally. He didn't reply. Lauren is left standing. Lauren remained near the aircraft door. Passengers no longer watched. They had places to be. She stood there anyway. Frozen. For the first time that day. She wasn't controlling the exit. The reality settles in. This wasn't a reprimand. This was a record. And records had a way of traveling further than rumors. Some truths don't arrive loudly. They arrive in inboxes. The car ride that isn't quiet. Lauren Whitfield sat in the back of a rideshare, staring at her phone. 3 missed calls. 2 unread emails. All from work. That never happened. She unlocked the first message. Subject: Quick sync urgent. Her chest tightened. Marcus moves forward. Marcus Reed stepped into LAX like any other traveler. No entourage. No rush. A man in a tailored suit approached him near baggage claim. Mr. Reed, he said quietly. Your car is ready. Marcus nodded. They walked. Lauren, across the terminal, saw it. She frowned. The email that lands hard. Lauren opened the second email. From Managing Partner. Subject: Airline incident inquiry. She stopped breathing. We've received a formal notice regarding conduct reported on Flight 318. We need your account immediately. Formal notice. Inquiry. Those words didn't come from nowhere. Marcus's call. In the car, Marcus's phone rang. Marcus, a calm voice said. LA office confirmed. The acquisition meeting is still on. Good, Marcus replied. A pause. They mentioned a name, the voice added. Lauren Whitfield. Marcus looked out the window. Noted, he said. Nothing more. The office reaction. Lauren rushed into her firm's glass tower less than an hour later. Her assistant stood up too quickly. They're waiting for you, she whispered.
They.
Never good. The conference room. 3 people sat there. Legal. HR. A senior partner who rarely smiled. Have a seat, Lauren, the partner said evenly.
She did.
They slid a document across the table. Airline letterhead. Time stamps. Witness notes. No emotion. Just facts. The question she can't answer. Do you know who Marcus Reed is? The partner asked. Lauren scoffed reflexively.
No.
He's just someone I sat next to. The partner nodded once, then turned the document around.
A name.
A title. A company logo Lauren knew very well. Marcus Reed. Managing Director, Northline Capital. Lauren's stomach dropped. Northline Capital. The firm currently acquiring her biggest client. The room shifts. That acquisition closes next week, the partner said quietly. Marcus Reed is leading it. Lauren's mouth went dry. I didn't know, she whispered. Legal leaned forward. That doesn't change the record, she said. Marcus reads the update. Marcus received a short summary on his phone. Incident logged. Corporate inquiry initiated. No action requested. He read it once, then closed it. This wasn't about punishment. It never was. Lauren understands too late. Lauren finally saw the pattern. The calm. The silence. The way he hadn't defended himself. He hadn't needed to. The system had done it for him. Money can forgive mistakes. Reputation doesn't. The deal freezes quietly. By the next morning, Lauren Whitfield's inbox was silent. Too silent. No meeting reminders. No calendar alerts. No casual, can you jump on a quick call? She refreshed her email. Nothing. At the same time, across the city, a deal dashboard at Northline Capital changed color. Status. Pending review. Marcus Reed didn't ask why. He already knew. The call she wasn't invited to. Lauren overheard it by accident. 2 partners speaking behind a glass wall. Northline flagged conduct risk. Can't afford instability this close to close. We'll handle it internally. Lauren's name wasn't mentioned. That was worse. Marcus speaks once. In a private conference room, Marcus addressed his legal team. I don't want public escalation, he said calmly. No statements. No leverage. The general counsel nodded. But we will document, Marcus continued. Fully. That sentence sealed everything. The email that changes everything. Lauren finally received a message. Subject: temporary adjustment to client assignments. She opened it with shaking hands. Effective immediately, you will be removed from all external-facing responsibilities related to the Northline transaction. Temporary. But everyone knew what that meant. She stared at the screen. Her biggest deal, gone. The office feels different. When Lauren stepped onto the trading floor, conversations dipped. Not stopped. Dipped. People didn't look at her. They didn't need to. News like this traveled, without sound. Marcus watches from a distance. Marcus received confirmation. Lauren Whitfield reassigned. New lead appointed. He nodded. Not satisfied. Just aligned. This wasn't revenge. This was risk management doing its job. Lauren tries to explain. She scheduled a meeting with a senior partner. I can explain, Lauren said quickly. It was nothing. A misunderstanding. The partner listened patiently, then said one sentence. It wasn't the spill, Lauren. It was the response. She froze. The truth hits. For the first time, Lauren replayed the flight, not defensively. Honestly. The comments. The tone. The assumption. She felt something unfamiliar rise. Not anger. Recognition. The client moves on. Later that afternoon, Northline Capital confirmed the new liaison. Lauren was copied. Courtesy, only. Her influence was gone. Marcus's reflection. Marcus stood at a window overlooking the city. He remembered seat 12C. Not with bitterness. With clarity. People reveal themselves most clearly when they believe the moment doesn't matter. The loudest consequences don't announce themselves. They reorganize the room. The internal review begins. Lauren Whitfield sat in a smaller conference room than she was used to. No glass walls. No skyline view. Just a table, a notepad, and two people from HR she barely knew. This is a standard internal review, one of them said calmly. No conclusions have been reached. Lauren nodded, but her hands were clenched. The question that matters. HR didn't ask about the spill. They didn't ask about Marcus Reed. They asked something else. How do you usually respond when you feel challenged in public settings? Lauren hesitated. I handle it professionally, she said. The HR rep made a note. That pause was documented. Outside, the story moves. Across the city, a quiet update circulated among senior partners. Risk exposure identified. Client sensitivity elevated. Visibility adjustments recommended. No names. But everyone knew. Marcus receives an invitation. Marcus Reed was invited to a private roundtable. A discussion on leadership and public conduct. He declined. Instead, he sent a brief response. Systems speak louder than individuals. The organizer saved the message. Lauren notices the pattern. Lauren returned to her desk later that day. Her name was gone from a shared document. Not deleted. Reassigned. She searched her calendar. 3 meetings removed. 1 keynote postponed. Her influence was being edited out. The firm protects itself. A partner explained it carefully. This isn't personal, he said. We're insulating the firm. Lauren almost laughed. She had said those words herself to others. Now she understood how they sounded. Marcus's world keeps moving. At Northline Capital, the acquisition progressed smoothly. No drama. No delays. The system had absorbed the disruption. Marcus reviewed numbers, not people. The first public hint. An industry newsletter published a brief note. Several firms are reevaluating leadership visibility following recent in-flight conduct reviews. Lauren read it twice, then closed her laptop. The story wasn't about her, which made it worse. A moment of realization. That night, Lauren sat alone in her apartment. No calls. No messages. She replayed the flight again. Not the argument. The assumption. She whispered to herself. I never asked who he was. The answer echoed back silently. You didn't think you needed to. Marcus reflects briefly. Marcus stood on his balcony. City lights flickering below. He thought about how little he had done. No complaint. No demand. Just restraint. The rest had happened naturally. The hardest consequences don't arrive with punishment. They arrive with distance. The calendar tells the truth. Lauren Whitfield opened her calendar Monday morning. White space. So much white space it felt aggressive. No client calls. No strategy sessions. No leadership check-ins. Her role still existed, but her presence didn't. The meeting without her. She learned about it by accident. A notification popped up on a shared drive. Northline transition. Leadership alignment call. She wasn't invited. She stared at the screen longer than necessary. This wasn't a demotion. It was erasure. Marcus makes a decision. Marcus Reed sat with his executive team. Numbers were good. Risk was contained. The general counsel asked, do you want to flag anything further? Marcus shook his head. No escalation, he said. Let the process finish. The room nodded. They trusted his judgment. Lauren tries one last time. Lauren requested a private conversation with a senior partner. He agreed. Barely. I need clarity, she said carefully. Am I being pushed out? The partner sighed.
No, he said.
You're being evaluated. For what? She pressed. He met her eyes. for how you respond when power isn't on your side. That answer stayed with her. The official notice.
2 days later, it arrived.
Not dramatic. Not cruel. Just final. Subject: Leadership Transition Update. Effective immediately, Lauren Whitfield will transition out of her current client-facing role. The firm thanks her for her contributions. No severance details yet. No future outlined. Just closure. Marcus receives confirmation. Marcus received the update through legal channels. Lauren Whitfield removed from deal-related responsibilities. Matter closed. He read it, then archived it. He didn't feel victory. He felt confirmation. The weight of what's lost. Lauren packed her office slowly. Awards. Photos. Business cards she no longer needed. She paused at the window. The city hadn't changed. She had. A quiet realization. In the elevator, a junior associate she once mentored stepped in. "Take care," the associate said softly. No judgment. Just truth. Lauren nodded. That hurt more than anger ever could. Marcus moves on. Marcus boarded another flight that evening. Different city. Different purpose. He settled into his seat and opened a report. The past didn't follow him. That was the difference. Some stories don't end with apologies. They end with understanding. The flight that comes back around. 6 months later, Marcus Reed boarded another flight. Chicago to New York. Same airline. Different season. He checked his boarding pass. Seat 12C. He paused for half a second. Then smiled. The cabin feels familiar. The aisles smelled the same. Recycled air.
Coffee.
Impatience. Marcus placed his bag under the seat and sat down. No one looked twice. That was the point. A different neighbor. The woman in seat 12D arrived moments later. Early 30s. Tired. Kind eyes. "Hi," she said naturally. "Window seat." "Yes," Marcus replied. No hesitation. No evaluation. Just conversation. A small test. Turbulence hit mid-flight. A drink wobbled. The woman steadied it instinctively. "Sorry about that," she said, smiling. "No worries," Marcus replied. The moment passed.
Clean.
Unremarkable.
Correct.
Lauren's new morning. Across the country, Lauren Whitfield started her day differently now. No driver. No corner office. She brewed coffee herself and sat near the window of a modest apartment. Her phone buzzed. A message from a nonprofit client. "Thank you for yesterday." The room shifted. Lauren stared at the words. They meant more than any deal ever had.
What she learned to see.
Lauren no longer led with authority. She led with listening. She noticed pauses now. Reactions after mistakes. Who spoke when things went wrong. Seat 12D had taught her that. Marcus watches the system work. Back on the plane, Marcus noticed something else. A flight attendant calmly de-escalated a disagreement 2 rows up. Documented.
Resolved.
No drama. Marcus leaned back. Satisfied. 2 lives, no collision. Marcus and Lauren never spoke again. They didn't need to. The lesson wasn't between them anymore. It had moved outward. Into rooms. Into systems. Into behavior. The view from above. As the plane climbed, Marcus looked out at the city lights below. Millions of people. Millions of assumptions. Most never questioned. Some corrected, quietly. The final truth. Power doesn't reveal itself in how loudly someone speaks. It reveals itself in how they respond. When they think the moment doesn't matter. Seat 12C mattered. Not because of who sat there, but because of what followed. Final words. No one was punished publicly. No one was celebrated. The system simply did its job. And sometimes, that's the most satisfying ending of all.